I've been playing about with it a little while and I'm ready to give you some more detailed thoughts and trying to answer the question right now, is it going to go in ahead of the Go 10.3? I must admit, I'm pretty excited about the Note Air 4C, even though it is actually only really just a logical upgrade from the one that we already had, the Note Air 3C. I'm still pretty fired up for it because using it has been really, really good so far. It's been a bit like going home, going and using Boox again. It's been a bit like just going back to what I know really well and what I think works really, really well as well. The improved screen, that's the sort of big one there, isn't it? It does seem whiter in sort of all color modes, all different values of the color temperature of the LEDs. It does seem to be whiter and truer color. I think that it is working pretty well. I also think that the color filter itself, which is the sort of the Kaleido color filter, is a little bit less apparent here on this device. It's a little bit less obvious. It will be difficult to see in any case on the live stream, but I actually think the color filter texture, which was a bit of a sort of obvious glaring sort of frustration on previous Kaleido 3 devices, it's actually a little bit less obvious on this newer generation. So I think there are actual benefits for the color e-ink screen, the Kaleido 3 screen. I want to talk about a few things about it and how I've been using it so far. But first of all, let's have a little look at the actual processor itself. And it surprised me, this processor is the Snapdragon 750G, which is actually not quite, it's not exactly the same processor that they had in the Tab Ultra C Pro. So that did surprise me. And actually the maximum clock speed of this on paper is 2 gigahertz, which is nowhere near what it was on the Tab Ultra C Pro or the previous Air 3C, which is 2.4. So that's an odd thing there, but I think it must be a more efficient, it must be a better core, because it is working better in terms of skipping around the device. It's all very responsive. It's all working really well. They've launched their software updates, which many people were very excited by. Rightly so, there's some very interesting ones there, including being able to use PDF templates with the hyperlinks working when it's a template now. So that's really quite cool. The other thing, and possibly the thing that I'm more excited about, is having the table of contents now available in the note page. In the notebook, you can now build yourself a table of contents, which is right there. You see, I've started to do that already. So from the Pages menu, you get now this drop down, and you can build out a link to any page you want directly from here. So you can have a table of contents, a little tree of your whole document just here. And the way you do that is any page at all. So let's go hold down a blank space and you can see add to outline just there. So add to outline, enter a title for your outline that you want. I'll call it drawing. Lots of people asking and seeing me do this handwriting recognition keyboard there as well. That's been added successfully. Now that's there in my little table of contents. I think that's something that's been added, something we really liked about the Supernote, and they've added that here because, well, it's kind of rude not to. It's not a difficult thing for them to have added. What I think is slightly nicer about the Supernote is you can actually use the handwritten title in here, and you can actually use the handwritten title appears in the table of contents, but that's totally fine the way it is. To put it in as a typed title is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with either of those. So I think that's a really good thing. It's really good news. Those software upgrades should go across all devices. That is Boox OS 4.0. So hopefully they'll upgrade to 4.0 across all the different devices. You also can have the choice of using the tab style homepage, where you've still got quick access to all your notes and things like that through the kind of smart assistant. But now you've got this sort of more tablet style, including widgets and apps being the home page. I think that's better. Personally, it certainly feels just fine there as well. I do think as well, the 4C is the kind of halfway house. If you're umming and erring whether you know, which of the 3 kind of main Boox tablets you want to go for, the Note Air 4C is the one that's kind of that good balance between note-taking and productivity. I think personally the Go 10.3 is a better option for reading and writing in black and white. I wouldn't recommend the Note Air 3 now we would probably expect a Note Air4, maybe with the 300 ppi screen as well. That'd be really nice. So I would probably go for one of those three choices. Black and white e-ink is better for reading and writing in black and white though, so do stick with that if that is your main use case. The screen though is really nice. It was a little bit disappointing getting out of the box and thinking, I was really hoping it would just be brighter in all conditions. But it is true that it is brighter when the front light is on, and it is, importantly, it is whiter and the colors are truer across the whole range. The lights do go even brighter than before, and having it somewhere around this kind of region is a really, so sort of about a third up on the coldness scale, and about 2/3 up on the brightness scale is a really comfortable position where it just looks good all of the time. It's not perfect yet. We were really expecting Kaleido 3 to be just absolutely gone, you know, and really forgotten about. We were expecting a Kaleido 4. They haven't even bothered to call it a Kaleido 3 Plus, but that's kind of what it is. They've clearly done something, and I've used it for a little while now, and I'm kind of noticing that, yeah, it is an improvement on the screen. Not night and day, as I've said in the first video, but it is an improvement. So it's good. It is really quite good. What I'm also finding is that chipset, whatever it is, it might be a little bit slower. It is really good at driving the e-ink screen. It is working well across all of the different e-ink modes. Normally, I'm just working in balanced mode, but I must say with the Boox Super Refresh tablets, even in the ultra fast mode, you can see it doing that clear out of the screen there, I hope. You'll see I'm in ultra fast. You can just see the way the ghosting, I'll come back to that, just disappears there, and it leaves it still looking really crisp. So actually what we find, did you see that again there? What we find is that throughout all these ranges, for all of these different e-ink modes, that this chip is working really well to drive that e-ink screen, and that is one of the most crucial things. It's good enough to do all of the things. It's been good enough to use in OneNote, and I've been doing a fair bit of using OneNote today, but on this page, this is my sort of future plans for what to do with my content as I go forward. And I've been really enjoying that. You can see all the notes are color-coded, annotating works just fine. It's got this kind of workaround to allow the sort of handwritten notes to work just fine, and then it sort of prints it in. It is a good experience using OneNote, absolutely. I've been using Word on it quite a bit, and that's a good experience as well. That works quite well. It's just absolutely fine. And I've also been using Google Docs, of course, on here. And the way that I've been using Google Docs, I'm working on a bit of writing just at the moment, a long bit of writing, it's a novel actually. And the way that I've been using that is I've been using that in split screen mode. And alongside that, I've had a notebook where I've got my notes as I kind of develop this bit of text. And that's been really, really good. I've been sort of editing this bit of text. I've had the keyboard in the sort of breakout mode. Can't remember how to do the pop-out mode, but I've had the keyboard just sat over here, which has been quite pleasant. And yeah, I've just been making little edits on that as well. And I'm going to show you, I've just tried for the first time using the actual, I'll do it now, why not? Using a external keyboard on this device. I think it's still connected. Yeah, should be. And so actually, well, you can have it sat up if you like, or you can have it in its vertical mode, which is really cool. Now I'll need to come out of my split screen mode. Having the notes panel there next to the text and making notes about it as I go has been really good. And let's just make sure, you know, just so we know what we're comparing here. I'm in balanced mode, which, you know, should be slowest, but it's a good balance, funnily enough, balance mode. But actually the typing, and it's responsive enough. And if you don't like that speed, you can go to ultra fast and still it'll do the clearing out of the screen as well. And can you get rid of this keyboard on screen? Yes, you can. If you click in here, you get the option show virtual keyboard just in there, and I can just bin that off. And now it's fine. And I can use just my normal shortcuts that I'm used to select my text and things and move around line by line, so on and so forth. And yeah, so now I'm in the speed mode, ultra fast mode. And it's really nice typing on it, to be quite honest. This is my little travel keyboard. You can also have the cursor come up if you do want to do things like click and drag and delete. For that kind of use case, just works. Yeah, there's a home button rather than a delete button by default, but there we are. So yeah, typing on e-ink, always a good time, always something that I want to actually test out. I've also just today, I've been looking at using Kindle on it. But hopefully you're kind of getting the impression there. Can you see it clearing out the white space, cleaning up the ghosting automatically? It's just always a good time. And this is V for Vendetta. You can see it's looking great. And hopefully you're seeing, we've struggled with this. Kindle hasn't looked its best, but a very helpful comment I had has helped me to actually, the workaround that makes sure that it's actually doing its full refresh, making sure it's nice and clean in the color areas as well. It was working, you know, reading in color and comic books works amazingly in eReader. I come out of Kindle and I go to their own reading app, eReader, which is this one here, something that's like a comic or something like this. And now actually it works well throughout all of the modes, so it doesn't need to even do a full refresh here to give you very clean e-ink. If I go into the speed mode, because you can use that deep refresh and it doesn't give you much ghosting and it doesn't need to do a full refresh. So I think it can do even better in the Kindle, but you know, we've figured out how to do the workaround to make sure we get good refreshing there on Kindle as well. So great times having with this device, really is good. Oh, and the last one I think I just want to show off is Chrome as well. Down to the sports. Man United leading, yeah, that's good. Oh, Chelsea is 6-0 up, how about that? But what you're seeing is hopefully how good it is at scrolling. What mode am I in here? HD, look. So, you know, I wouldn't use HD normally because it has to do a full refresh when it gets there, but you can see you don't need to. It just looks so good. So yeah, 1-0 up, Bruno Fernandes gone, Bruno's right. Looking positive. It's going to be difficult to say, and that's our next thing we're going to do in a moment. It was going to be difficult to say what's the number one at the moment, this or the Go 10.3, but that's what we're going to have a little look at there. And of course, I've been using it for my planner, and I just want to say, you know, how easy it's been. So I've just been working on a PDF, reverted back to type, and just worked on my PDF. There is 2-week planner. So this is my little planning document, look, all the stuff I have to do at school, which has just worked absolutely fine as normal. And I'm going to be trying drawing out a little bit more seriously soon. So if I go back to my notes app, you can see I've kind of color coded some of these. These are the notes about that book that I was talking about. This is the little notepad I had open in the split screen. Nice just to use those little splashes of color, I think. And yeah, I just did a little bit of drawing. I'm going to spend a bit more time with drawing because I'm going to get really serious about drawing on e-ink because I'm having a really good time with that. And I hope you're interested to come along for the ride. It's a little bit better, I think, but it's still not perfect. The notes app, they've made the large volume notes thing is gone in exchange for that little dialogue there showing it updating. I still don't think it's quite as fast as it maybe needs to be, and I still think they ought to invest in a real drawing app. But you can see drawing is pretty nice. Just a quick one of my daughter there. Yeah, you got one. How's it going? Let me know, Ryan, what you guys think about it, please. Just bought an Air4 scheduled for today. Awesome. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great switch there. Yeah, that's the thing. Anyone who needs to spend a lot of time reviewing documents and look into getting an e-ink tablet, you're doing the right thing. You're on the right thing here. I slowly started thinking you need a color display. Yeah, I think that's it. If you think you need color, then dive in. Color e-ink, in my opinion, is now good enough. Kaleido 3 is the faster one, and Gallery 3 is the more truer color and the slower one. That's the way to think about that. Yeah, that seems like a very sensible thing to do. If you've enjoyed using your Remarkable 2 for 3 years, then you'll enjoy using this. Know that there'll be a little bit of a learning curve as well as you go forward with it, but you know, it's not as simple to use as the Remarkable, but it rewards you for sitting and reading the manual, which you know, if you've got the patience to do that, then do that. I've got a bit of a user guide video as well. The battery life is a dead end. It's actually been quite good. I've only charged it once since I've had it, and I've had it 2 weeks, and it's sat on standby for most of the time. I've tried to be a little bit more sparing with it and tried to leave things like Bluetooth off, and actually you can see I'm on 63% here, so actually the signs are quite good for battery life. I would say, judging by testing in other videos I've seen, it isn't a night and day improvement, sure, but they have said actually that there'll be a beta coming very soon which will improve the battery performance. So hopefully that's good. I would say, we're probably still not going to get a full week out of it, this device, but probably we'll get a 3-day period, which should be okay. This is my backlight settings that it kind of, or my front light settings rather, that it kind of sits on most of the time. Obviously, if I'm in full light or by a window, I can just turn that light right off and it's fine. But generally, color ink needs a bit more light, which is one of the reasons why the battery isn't quite as good. Now, the 4C is 300 ppi for black and white, but color ink is never as clear in black and white as a black and white is. Okay, because it has this kind of pattern on it, which is the color filter, and you can see that when you're close enough to it. I mean, the latency on actual ink on actual paper is sick, isn't it? Yeah, interesting that you kind of decided to go back. I'm of the thought that I couldn't go back. I mean, let me know in the comments if you are someone who has gone back to paper and enjoyed it, or if you're like me and you just think that I couldn't go straight back to paper anymore for this kind of workflow anyway.